All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to another episode of Pop Culture Junkies. Today, let's talk about Wakanda Forever. So it's been about a month, guys. Wakanda Forever has been out about a month now. Giving it some time. For those of you that haven't seen the movie, spoiler alert, I'm going to be talking a lot about everything that happens in the movie. There are not two sections to the video. There are spoilers throughout. If you don't want anything spoiled, stop listening now and come back and see me later. I'm going to tell you one thing straight out of the gate. What was the movie for me? 3.5 to 4 stones out of 5. 4 Infinity Stones out of 5. I think it was one of the better MCU movies. Now I'm going to get into the review. So if you don't want spoilers, get out now. So first and foremost, what I will say about this movie, really enjoyed the movie, really enjoyed Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye, the whole Dora Milaje. Really, really loved Tenoch Huerta as Namor. I love how they changed that origin story for him. I know it was controversial to a lot of people, but I thought it was fucking amazing. I thought it was an amazing, amazing change for the character. Revolutionized Namor in ways untold. Made him 10 times more interesting than just a generic ass Aquaman. Fucking fantastic. Really love to see how they incorporated the character and the culture into the character. Everything from the art, the stylings, the jewelry, their greeting, like their hand symbol greeting that they took straight off of the actual art from that era was like amazing detail that went into making this fantastic piece. The costumes, the set pieces, all amazing. There were some hiccups with some of the scripting, I will say that. It's what probably kept it from being a 5-star movie. I think I noticed like halfway in, 3/4 in, like a light bulb went off for me that this movie, I can totally tell how they retrofitted this movie to be about Shuri, and because Chadwick wasn't there, right? So movie starts off, thought they did a great tribute to Chadwick. I thought they did the right thing by not dwelling on, what's he dying from, whatever. There was no need to make some long drawn out portion of that, but they did a great job in the beginning of letting us all acknowledge his loss together. And I think the reason I enjoyed this movie so much is because this movie, more than any other Marvel movie, dealt with one subject matter, and it dealt with it through spandex and superpowers. This movie was all about loss. It was all about loss from beginning to the end, and how people deal with loss, and how we grieve, and how we acknowledge, and how we grow. People get caught up in the formulaic Marvel movie and the tights and the special effects, and they're so caught up in all that bullshit. And Namor's not from Atlantis anymore, that they're missing the actual story that was told here. And in the beginning, we watch as Shuri tries to deal with this loss, and she's this genius level intellect who cannot solve this problem of her brother dying. She's literally moving DNA in a puzzle, because that's how smart she is, and she cannot save him. They save the universe, they save the planet, but she cannot save him here, despite everything she tries. You would assume as the movie starts after that that's just them saying, okay, this happened, we get it out of the way and move on. But the entire rest of this movie, we go through this journey with this character as she goes through these stages of grief and loss, in the loss of her brother, in the kingdoms, the nation's loss of its king, a mother's loss of her son, and a mother who's in the process of losing her daughter, who cannot properly recover from the death of her brother. So many levels and layers to this. I don't Ryan Coogler, like, this is it's a masterpiece, man. If it weren't for the pacing and time issues, I totally would have given this movie 5 out of 5. It's a masterpiece in storytelling and in these people dealing with loss from the beginning to the end of the movie. Namor's reasons, we see there's also a large sub-thing around imperialism and conquerors and how it's affected the people that they dealt with. And we see Namor's also dealing with loss. It's the loss of his mother's and her people's loss of their land and their heritage, all of this loss took him to this place, right? It made him who he is, and it made him create what they created. Was the loss, right? The watching the loss of his people influenced him to agree like nothing else other than his mother's stories, right? So again, it was an amazing way for them to address this from multiple angles. I don't think another movie that they've done has taken on such a serious subject matter, put all the paint and gloss on it of a superhero story, and actually took you through a journey like that. It's Coogler deserves all the credit. The actors and actresses were really well done. I really enjoyed when Shuri went to the spirit realm and ran into Michael B. Jordan instead of her ancestors she was expecting. I feel like that scene was always going to be there. I feel like Chadwick was going to go there because he was going to be on such a path for revenge. It was going to cause him to lose his mother. And that's when he would go there. And then he would realize when he was talking to Killmonger that this is the path he's on, that this movie was total. I can totally see through how this was supposed to be about T'Challa dealing with loss, but instead they had to make it about Shuri and Shuri's loss and her growth. And so I can totally see how it would have been that way, and Shuri would have helped him rediscover the plant, and they would have replanted it, and pretty much the big themes of the story would have still happened, but the smaller bits would have been more nuanced around T'Challa instead of Shuri. So I think they did a great job transposing those two characters, kind of shifting who the story was about in the spotlight, because that was a huge loss for them to lose Chadwick and to continue try to make this movie. And they just did an amazing job of it. Angela Bassett did an amazing job as Queen Ramonda. The way she was dealing with the politics, she was dealing with the loss, not only the loss of her son, but kind of the loss of innocence for her nation, right? The loss of, they weren't a secret anymore, and that loss of freedom to move kind of in the shadows didn't exist anymore. They had to deal as a geopolitical entity that the world knew what they were really about, what power they actually had. Again, so many levels to this, and so many levels of the same theme running through this movie. It's so good, guys. I've really enjoyed it. The ending, post-credit scene is okay. What was more important about the ending scene was Shuri and the fire. It was more important to go on that journey of grief at the end and progress through and process all those emotions, which is what that end scene was there for. I'm not sure if the end scene would have ever been Shuri and her son. I'm pretty sure it would have been T'Challa either discovering his son or T'Challa and his son. Like, I don't think it would have been maybe it would have been him at the fire thinking of his mother, potentially. That could have been easily what it would be, was him thinking about Queen Ramonda at the fire with his son and telling his son who he is. With Shuri, it was kind of closure for all of us who were watching and missing Chadwick, and you go through this journey and you wish he was on screen the entire movie, because he just had a presence with this character. And so the ending was a good piece of closure for everyone in that conversation. It's an amazing movie, guys. Again, I said 3.5 to 4. I'm gonna stick with 4 stones out of 5 on this one. I thought it was an amazing piece of work. For all the detractors out there that want to say anything, it made almost $1 billion already. Please shut the fuck up. So Wakanda Forever, 4 stones out of 5. I encourage you guys to go see it if you haven't. For those of you that did see it, hopefully you enjoyed sitting here talking about it with me. If you like this content, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.